Now let's set up the system. First, adjust the guide beam using your calculation sheet to adjust the final guides to the measurements. Make sure all adjustment rods are centered. You can gang adjust the entire beam as well as make individual adjustments for each guide pulley. Then, at the tape dispenser or backstand, begin loading with the top of the board roll. This is the tear tape, and again, the tear tape rolls have an OS product number and are blue on one side and white on the other. Inspect the roll. Place the roll on the spindle with the tape coming from under the roll. Seat the core firmly. Thread the tape through the pulleys and into the guide system. Run the tape over the apple core pulleys, down the dancer assembly, up and out through the exit pulleys, through the waterfall roller assembly, into the beam, and through the final guide assemblies. Do not leave twists in the tape, and do not cross tapes over one another. Work from inside out when threading the backstand and beam assembly. There is a diagram of the threading process attached to the backstand. Attach loose tape ends with double-stick tape to a scrap board for insertion later into the corrugator. Follow the same threading steps for the guide tape rolls. The guide tapes have a CR product number and are blue on both sides. Again, be sure tape rolls dispense from under the roll. Remember, the tear tapes are labeled OS and are dispensed on the outside liner with the blue adhesive side down on the web and the white barrier-coated side up. The guide tapes are labeled CR and are dispensed inside the board. It's important that the tear tape be monitored for flipping. After threading the equipment, go back and check your work. A tape could fall off a pulley if there's excess slack in the tape. Use the compensator pulley to keep tension in the tape after you've threaded the beam system. You're now ready to insert the beam into the corrugator. When inserting the beam, make sure the tapes don't tangle or flip over. Roll the beam in until it is secure in its locked position. Now, place the scrap board with the tape ends into the nip of the double backer. Check for tangles or flipping. Our tape products allow you to splice tape from roll to roll without slowing or stopping your corrugator using a patented pin and loop system. Each roll of tape has a pin at its tail end and a string at its lead end. The operator easily prepares a splice by tying a loop from the string at the lead end around the running tape. The loop should be tied with a secure knot, such as a square knot or a double knot. The loop should have a little wiggle room and should not be too tight or too loose, or else a proper splice may not occur. When an active roll is completely unwound, the pin interlocks with the loop made with the string on the new roll. The new roll smoothly continues the run. To help ensure that the tape does not flip during the splice, the Model 5 dispenser is equipped with an anti-flip-over kit. The correct way to tie a splice from the top to bottom roll is slightly different than from the bottom to top roll. When you're splicing a new roll, which is placed on the top spindle into the roll that is dispensing on the bottom spindle, pull the tape from the top roll under the pulley and over the flip-over bar. Tie into the active roll dispensing from the bottom roll. When splicing from the bottom roll into the active roll on the top, thread the new tape from the bottom roll on the outside of the anti-flip-over bar and onto the active roll on the top spindle. It's important to thread the tape and splice correctly to ensure a smooth transition between rolls. The guide tapes and tear tapes must be aligned on top of each other. The tape alignment can vary plus or minus 1/8 of an inch during application and still allow for a clean tear in performance. To check the placement of the tapes, go downstream, pull a box, and measure. One person can check the tape placement on the dry end, and another person can make adjustments at the wet end. It should take 3 to 5 minutes to set up the Open Sesame tape dispensing system once you're trained and have run it several times. Most of the setup is actually done offline, and the tape adjustment can be fine-tuned up to 1 inch from the operator side without shutting down the corrugator. The accuracy of the tape placement is critical so that during the converting process, the die cut is able to hit the tape.